so important because this is why I'm like,
this is gonna have to be a separate episode right here, bro.
well, I'm glad we stopped there because this one is gonna be part two.
My God. Oh, there's so much there. Okay, so
Wherever you want to take it from.
okay, no, I'm hearing everything you're saying. There's so much there. I first want to say in response to listening to you, my genuine sorrow for people in the church, in any ministry, that have ever been used and not pastored. When you're used and not pastored, you're gonna find abuse of some sort, you know, or let's say at very best, you're gonna find negligence. You know what I mean? And then once the person's been neglected enough, and you know, they start acting up and behaving bad, then they're gonna get, you know, put out or whatever consequences come with that. I have so much to say about that, but I want to start off with saying that I'm sorry for people that have been expected to minister, and you know, have not been pastored well. Jeez Louise, there's so much to say about that, but I do want to say that I really feel for that. I have many friends of mine that I wish I can give you names, but people in the industry that I've worked with, and I didn't even know what their story was. And I would, like I said, I wish I could tell you. I had a guitarist. I'll just say that he was in my studio, and I was like, "Yeah, man. So I heard you on so and so's record, and that was great. Yeah, you killed it on Marvin Sapp and blah blah blah, whatever." But I haven't seen you like lately on. He's like, "Oh no, that was me." He's like, "I walked out. I'm done with that." And he started telling me some situations that he had been through. I was like, "Oh man!" And in my mind, as a minister of the gospel, especially at that point, I was like, "Yo, bro, everybody's not like that. Like, go find yourself a good pastor. Don't give up on God, because of people. Because anywhere you go in any social sector, you will find and be used by people.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you go. They'll use you at work. They'll use you at the club. They'll use you everywhere. They'll use you for your money. They'll use you for your talent. And if you die, you'll be replaced in about a week or two. And nobody will visit you in the hospital. I've been there and nobody visited me. Like, I've been there before. I wouldn't say nobody, but very few. So I understand that deep hurt of like people being used. And when that guy was telling me those stories, I was like, bro, not everybody's like that, but I'm so sorry you've been through it. Like, I get it. But God is not like that. It's really hard to explain when authoritative figures make those kind of mistakes. But I want to say this. That there are godly leaders. Most of them are unappreciated. Most of them, we don't thank them for praying for us, or, some of them, for some of us, it's our parents or an uncle or, a counselor or somebody. There's a lot of godly people out there. Unfortunately, we highlight the bad people because they stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, you ever hurt your thumb and you're like, oh, and all you could think about all day is how much it hurts you. Well, nothing else in your body hurts you, but because that hurts you, everything hurts.
Yeah.
And that's how it is sometimes. It's like, I feel like telling that guy, bro, I know exactly where you can go and be taken care of. But I get him. I know. I understand that because he was so good at what he did, people don't care what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or how he's doing.
So, Pastor, how do you deal with somebody like that? What's your approach to, and first of all, that's no, but that's good, because we don't give enough credit to the good ones. We don't give enough credit to the godly ones that have pastored and have done it.
But I hear you saying this pastor took advantage of me or that pastor, because I've been taken advantage of before. So I'm neither saying, what are you talking about?
No,
that doesn't
no,
happen. I know it happens. Like, I'll tell you stories. Like I would make people right here feel terrible right now if I were to tell them certain stories.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go.
I was about to say, even though like I know it happens, my big thing that I want to just deposit in you is that our relationship with God is personal. And we're going to have to give account of our lives and our actions to God. And watch this. A complaint about somebody, a genuine complaint, does not save sins. So you can't get to heaven and be like, Jesus say, okay, give account, of your life and, whatever. I'm not sure how he's going to do it. There's no script,
Cuando
I'm imagining he's going to. Yeah, exactly. Like, so you're not going to be able to say, well, so-and-so person. No, I know, but what about your faith that brings you to salvation, right? What about that? Tell me about that. Well, that one guy, like, complaints do not cleanse sins.
Only
That's
a word, man.
Jesus Christ cleanses sins. Only the blood of Jesus. You know what I mean? Only receiving Jesus in your life and being baptized, you know what I mean? And receiving the Holy Spirit, like, the word says, like, that's, your faith in Jesus, living, I don't know. We've always been taught, like, living for God, like, walk with him, you know what I mean? To me, that is a safer bet. Faith in Jesus Christ, and then saying, well, the reason why I didn't was because so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, because I don't read anywhere in the Bible where a complaint will forgive sins. So that's why I just want to say that to somebody out there, like, look at, if they hurt you, they're whack. Let's go hit them. Let's go toilet paper their house together. You know what I mean? Whatever. But find your way back to Jesus Christ. And secondly, there is a community somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you need help finding one, as a pastor, I'll help you find one. You don't even have to be in my area. I'll help you find one, but yeah, man. So that's my thought on that. There's so much to say about that. There's so much to say.
No, I love it. And I think, it stirs me. It stirs me because I know you hear it. I've heard it often, hear it often. And that is, I think that's so good. Because at some point, I wrote this the other day. Paul says, as a child, I thought as a child, but then as a man, I let go of childish ways. And at some point, we got to grow up.
Amen.
Growing up has everything to do with growing out of yourself and growing out of those moments. If I would have stayed upset at the guy or the woman who hurt me, I would be the most bitter, most angry person.
I have been.
Oh yeah, we've been there. So I for at least for me, like, when I do these episodes, not all of them are this type of content. But when I do this, I try to push it because I want to, and this is probably the first one I've done like this that really, really tackles this, because it's like, man, I hear you, but this sounds bad. And maybe some of my friends are gonna be mad at me. It's like, but I'm done talking about it.
Right.
I have compassion. I'm with you, but just like you said, Pastor, let's move on. We gotta. There is way too much. Go ahead. I see it,
bro. Can I just tell you something?
Can I
just tell you something? Like,
just go.
I've been so hurt. I've been in certain places in my life where I was hurting so bad. I know this is a different conversation, but where it affected me physically, physiologically, psychologically, like, it affected me, bro, like, so bad. And I don't want to get into it today. They could watch other content that I put out if they want to see some more about that, or, DM me or whatever. But I remember, this is funny. One thing that has really helped me is holy anger. And I'm like, I heard about it one time and I was like, okay, so because the Bible says be angry, but sin not.
Right.
So you can be angry, but don't let that anger be like, I'm gonna get that guy, I'm gonna go give him my little finger. I'm gonna, or I want that one hermana. Yeah, man. And we fantasize about it. Oh man, if I could, I would get her by the arm. But you can't because you can't hit girls. But that one hermana, if I'd be like, you know what I mean? Like, give her some Hadoukens, you know what I mean? Like, heck no.
Cobra Kai.
Right? I would Cobra Kai that sister's whatever. So here's the thing, man. Like in my flesh, like I want to sin when I'm angry. But when I learned about holy anger, I learned that there's a way to be angry that is okay. And bro, I remember one time thinking, you know what, that brother's standing in my way. That brother doesn't appreciate me. I remember, I'm gonna tell you one small story. There was two brothers and they were standing out here in this area in this church. And they looked at back then my studio used to be in the top floor of this church, just a little away from here. And I wasn't there. I was upstairs making music in the studio that our church had furnished for me to make music for our church,
Okay.
And so the brothers were standing outside downstairs and they're looking up to the window of my studio and they said, bro, what a waste of space. Why does the pastor let them take that whole room? We could be using it for like men's ministry. We could be using, and they kind of said all the different things they could be using it for. Like, why does he get it? Oh, we know why. He's the pastor's son. Anyways, well, of course, they're not too smart. One of my friends was standing right there. I don't know if they wanted me to hear about it, but my friend came up later and, hey, bro, they were saying this about you. And bro, I wanted to be so mad. And bro, I heard Rick Warren said, the best revenge is success. The best revenge is being fruitful. Then he said this, he said, outlove, outserve, outlive your critics. Outlove them. In other words, just keep on loving. Outserve, just keep on serving, and outlive. Like, in other words, just keep on going, man.
Wow.
So that really ministered to me in that season. And bro, going back to the holy anger, I wanted to be like, you know what? Guys like that, that's why I'm going to go and I'm going to do this with my talent. That's why I'm going to take my talent. I knew the church. I know how the church people are. I knew this already. And bro, I was very tempted to do that. And I had a lot of very great offers in that time. And I'm not going to talk about that today, what you should take and what you shouldn't take. But just stuff that I felt like I shouldn't take, I was willing to take because people got me angry. And I remember one time I was in that holy anger and I wanted to cuss them out and stuff. And, in my heart, I was by myself. And I remember saying, no, this is my church. They can go somewhere if they want, but I ain't going nowhere. This is my church. I'm staying here, bro. And it sounds kind of angry, and it kind of was actually. And bro, something about that fueled me to be like, you know what? I'm not going to be mad, whatever. Right now I am, but I'm not going to stay mad, but I'm going to stay here. And I can tell you both of those people are not here anymore. And it has nothing, literally nothing to do with me.
Wow.
Not one thing. Just on their own. They're not here.
Wow.
And so I say that because a lot of times the more productive thing to do is not complain. Yeah. The more productive thing to do is pray and stay. You want to take over? You can't take over by leaving. You want things to change? You can't change by not becoming the next leaders. If you want to take over, you have to become the next leader.
Wow.
And bro, that's a whole other ball game. I learned so much. Now I appreciate my leaders because I was like, that's it. I'm going to be a minister. I'm going to take over. Bro, this has been the hardest thing I've ever done.
Wow.
The hardest thing I've ever done. And it all brings balance. God, of course, is over all of it. And it all brings balance. And now I realize I should have just stood where I was at. It was a little easier back there. You know what I mean? I was just a little easier. I should have just moved into car wash ministry or something like that. Because this whole pastor thing is no joke. You know what I mean? And so anyways, I say all that, bro, because I'm sorry for those people that have been hurt. But my testimony is this. I was also hurt. I was also thinking about leaving many, many times. Still do once in a while. No, I'm just kidding. But
you're good about it right now.
But I know right now. No, but my point is, instead of letting the anger turn to bitterness, I let that anger, if you will, fuel a staunchness, a strong will about, you know what? If I leave this in this condition, it won't get better. If the brothers talking about each other, and or how about what we talked about earlier? If we leave the music ministry in this condition where they go play and then they get high and come back and finish playing, like if I leave that in this condition, then I'm actually at fault for abdicating the role that God has called me to. Maybe the reason why I'm so angry is because I'm the one that God has called to make a change. Maybe the reason why I'm mad at the ministry is because God said, oh, you need to be a ministry. Maybe the reason why I don't like the brothers that talk about people is because I have to come in here and teach people how not to talk about each other because we're brothers and sisters in the Lord. So that's what I have to say in response to that. It's not to minimize people's pain, but why don't we turn our pain into a revolution and bring fresh blood into the church? I will tell you, it's going to end up with lots of service, but if you really want change and not just revenge, stay. I don't know what else to say.
Queremos invitar al hermano Josué a colectar la ofrenda.
Right?
Dude.
So
we could talk about for 20 days, for 21 days. Daniel fast and talk about it every day. I'm gonna I think that Daniel fast sessions, just this topic. I love this. Everybody that's listening, man, we're praying that this blesses you. Aaron, I got one last question. And I don't know how quick it's gonna be because me and you, we're talkers.
I know.
In our culture, this may not apply to 100% of the people listening and watching, but I know it's gonna apply to many. In our culture, specifically our Hispanic culture, we have shifted. We have come a long way. I do not know. Yeah, I do not know of, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I do not know of too many just Spanish churches that just strictly speak the language of Spanish, with the exception of few, at least over here. There are many bilingual. They have kind of become a bilingual ministry, or they're Spanish, but then the worship is bilingual. So even though they're a Spanish ministry, there is this. It's kind of like, it's not an English ministry with a Spanish church. It's like a Spanish church with just with a third and fourth generation of English speaking people and young people. And at least in my context over here, it's not too many of just complete Spanish. There's exception, but there is a remnant of them. And if then maybe their Sundays are just Spanish, because maybe of who they are, but there is a big English part or a bilingual that they're trying to incorporate. Where am I going with this? And this is where I'm going. How did you guys, from what I've seen, I don't see that you guys do it, but how can people bring those two worlds together? Because I would love to hear your perspective, because growing up I got a lot of unfortunately I don't know where, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know where I got it from, but dude, I started to hate corridos. Like, I didn't want to do them at all. Now it's different. For me, it's a little different now.
It's more like nostalgia.
Yeah, but before I wouldn't do it. Like, I hear any minor chord going into, it's like, we're not going there. And that's,
by the way, I also hate minor chords. That's a whole different ballgame too. I hate minor mode songs. Minor means sad.
So you don't like Merecedor de Alabanza. You just would never play that song.
I don't like minor songs. I purposely remove them from the annals of AWE3 history.
Wow.
Gone,
so
bro.
I'm trying to think of a minor
song, bro. Even minor songs from like Let It Rain. If it's too minor, I won't do it, bro. It has to have more of a, I mean, if it is just a little, but it has to have some major release. All the stuff that stays all minory stuff, not with it. Like all the scary. No 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 no. I'm like, why am I scared right now? You know, and I realized that in
El cuco.
composition, bro, in composition, minor chords are used as a sad color or scary, because usually in minor songs you go from minor, which is sad, to diminished, which is scary. So you go from sad to scary.
That's interesting. So, man, that's interesting. When we finish this episode, we're gonna stop recording. I got to talk to Aaron. But how do we blend these two worlds? Like,
okay,
and not even so much language. If
okay,
you don't even have to answer that. To me, it's more language and generations.
okay,
Because I think one has to, in our context, one has to do with the other. Like my wife doesn't speak Spanish. She's gonna be mad, Tina. I'm sorry, baby. She speaks Spanish. It's not her native language in the sense of like she just it's not a conversational. She's learning Spanish songs now. You'll hear her sing and people go up to her like speaking in Spanish and she's just looking at me like,
I learned the song. Yeah.
yeah. She's just like, and the other day I showed her the arrebato thing that you guys did and we're like, yo, we should. I love, like, it's perfect. We can do this. And she's like, it's so wordy. She's like, aunque los gigantes. Oh my God, I'll be back. But
right.
how do we blend those two worlds? Because her thing is, it's not that she despises the Spanish, it's just a language barrier for her. So
Yeah.
to her, when we do some of the older Spanish stuff, it's not so much like, oh, that's old school, that's
Sure.
the jawbone Samson, like all this extra prophetic stuff. It's no, not ever not singing it. She's just like, I just don't know it.
Right.
But how do we bring these two worlds together? What's your short answer?
My thought, I have a few thoughts on that. Yeah, there's so much there. I have a few thoughts on that. The first thing, as far as what I've experienced, I can't speak to anything except for what I've experienced. You know, I think it's wrong to tell people what to do if you have no idea. And if I don't know something, I just won't answer. But what I usually answer is from just personal experience. The only very effective bilingual services in America. Okay, I have to really emphasize that, because we're very spoiled here in America. And if you go to Ethiopia, where I have some music out there, bro, they'll go like 5 translators, and everybody's like, like, bro, they don't care. They wait. And they just, oh, bro, they don't care.
Wow.
Bro, this is not a joke. My personal friends, their dad's a pastor out there. That's why I have the music out there with them, because I produced their record in Amharic, which is the language of that section of Ethiopia.
Okay.
And bro, they have, this is not a joke, thousands of people in their church. Well, it's millions, but that could actually meet in one place. Thousands of people, bro. A lot of them come and they travel days on foot to get to their conventions or their big services, because otherwise they have church back in their small areas. But when they get together, bro, they come just hungry for the word. So I have to start by saying that we don't have a lot of patience to wait on either a bad translator, which we are guilty of, not even when it comes to English songs and Spanish songs, right? We are not very fair. As a result, Americans don't like unfair treatment. It's literally the worst thing. We don't like it. We won't endure it.
Wow.
You know? So in America, the only bilingual services that I've seen go very well is when they are carefully planned to be equal, even to the point of the inflection of the preacher. It can't be like, brothers, I'm telling you right now, in the name of Jesus, and in Spanish, hermanos, estoy diciendo. No, it literally has to be, the energy has to be matched in the preaching. The songs can't be too long in English, and then 10 minutes later, they do the Spanish set. It has to be like, here I am to worship. que estoy rendido.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like back-to-back stanzas, you know? It can't be like, oh yeah, we went 10 minutes in English and 10 minutes in Spanish, because you'll lose that whole demographic, if especially if you're inside church for 10 minutes. You'll lose them. And you know as well as I do, when you lose a demographic in a building, the energy goes down. And now you're fighting human energy, not even spiritual anymore. It just depends, of course. Now you're fighting human energy. So, because of where we live, because of the attention span and the need for fairness in America, it has to be planned very intentionally. It has to be equal. If okay, so now let me tell you what our problem is with our church, and bilingual services.
That's classic. Okay. This doesn't happen in any other church, just our church.
No, I'm about to tell you what happened. Our problem in our church. Our problem is that all the güeros are the ones that play and sing. And when I mean güeros, I mean us pochos. All right? Like, so
he's cultured, man.
It's all English speaking people for the most part that run all the services. Because the Spanish hasn't been maybe around long enough to cultivate their own musicians. The Spanish is like the newer church in our church right now.
Wow.
So because they don't have their own musicians, you have all the English people that endure because of obedience going to serve at the Spanish service.
Wow.
And even though they're very good at what they do, it's not a true cultural experience. Not the same as if they were to go to an all Spanish church. So what we're trying to do now is make church in Spanish, and we already, of course, have church in English. So now we just launched a few weeks ago our Spanish only service, and we are trying to bring Spanish speaking musicians and raise up Spanish speaking musicians in that service, even if it has to start off simple with just an acoustic guitar. So long as it's organic, I think it's the best way to go. You know, unless, like I said, since you're in America, because we're not in Ethiopia or Mexico, since we're here, unless you're going to be fair. In other words, here's a couple keys: that the music is not super duper long, and it doesn't take too long to go between languages, right? And that the preaching, that the pastor and the translator work together, that their energy is the same. In other words, that no one in any language is getting shortchanged. You know? And of course, if you could possibly help it, don't let the brothers go up and make 10,000 announcements and make the service long. Bilingual services by nature are already they're already taxing. They're already taxing emotionally a little bit. They're a little bit of a drag, you know, already as it is. Of course, you're patient, you're going to get your blessing, you're going to get your word. But for the most part, people come on a Sunday after they just watched something and been carnal all weekend long. So we have to understand that they're coming in their flesh to a place where we're trying to bring them to the spirit.
Right.
So we have to, you know, we got to bring them in, you know, and to do that takes a lot of, you know, good prayer and planning.
Man. Listen, you said something, the importance of raising the musicians within. But anyway, I'm not going to do that. My viewers are going to be mad. I'm going to force you to wait for another time. We're going to have another conversation one day. Hopefully when all this is over in person. So I purposely said that at the end. The viewers, I know you're upset. Write it in the comments. The importance of raising musicians within. You said that, but we'll let that go. I know I'm going to get DMs later. But listen, guys, comment, like, subscribe, let us know how this blessed you. We don't do this for subscriptions. We really hope that this is just something in addition to what's already happening in your ministry and in your churches. I say that often, but before we go, Pastor, give us some of your handles real quick. I know you have your website, your piano lessons. I offer it at a very, very super basic level, but I think the people that are watching and viewing me will be blessed by your ministry. So I want you to end it and talk about that and everything with the Minstrels Foundation and everything that you're doing, please.
I appreciate that. So
yes,
the main handle I would leave you with is at G Aaron Barbosa. So at GAARON BARBOSA. Now Barbosa is the I believe it's the one from Spain or Portugal. Barbosa, and not Barbosa like Captain Barbosa in the Disney movie, the one where they're pirates or whatever. Yeah, pirates, whatever.
Okay.
So G Aaron Barbosa is my Instagram handle. And I would say it's the best place to find the different things that we do. If you go to my link in my bio, I have a link tree connected to all the latest stuff that I'm doing, because there's lots of stuff, but I try to connect the latest stuff that we're working on, because we literally release stuff like almost on a weekly basis, whether it be lessons or podcasts or a music video or something like that. So G Aaron Barbosa on Instagram. Facebook is also G Aaron Barbosa. If you want to go directly to my website to learn how to play piano, it's schoolofminstrels.org. If you want a shorter one, minstrelstv.com. So schoolofminstrels.org and minstrelstv.com, and they can find me there anytime.
Awesome, man. We'll have that all there for our listeners and our viewers. Thank you one more time. This is your friend, your brother, Alex, and Pastor Aaron Barbosa. This is The Drop. Until next time, peace out.
Peace out.